Who were the killers responsible for stopping the drug deal at the beginning of GTA Vice City? Who ordered this attack? What were the drugs doing on Sonny's table during the An Old Friend mission after the failed exchange at the docks? Was Lance Vance lying to Tommy for his own gain, telling him that Ricardo Diaz was the real culprit? In today's video, we will talk about the great chaos that took place at the beginning of GTA Vice City and try to find answers to all the questions mentioned a second ago. Enjoy. First, let's recall the exact course of events. In 1986, Sonny Forelli, the Don of the Forelli crime family operating in Liberty City, came up with the idea to slightly expand the activities of his organization. To be more specific, Sonny wanted to take his chances in the drug market. Thus, Don Forelli was well aware that such a move would greatly annoy other families operating in the Liberty City area. The Mafia Code strictly prohibited the drug trade. Ergo, Sonny came up with the idea that he would carry out this entire drug operation far outside the city. It will be better and safer. And so, the sun-drenched Vice City became the target. Back in the day, the metropolis was perfect to start dealing drugs. The city was actually built on money from them. Any person with some reasonable access to cocaine could become someone big in Vice City. As Sonny mentioned, even refugees from Cuba and Haiti were doing quite well selling cocaine. Tommy Vercetti, Sonny's former friend and one of the best people in the ranks of Forellis, was like grist to the mill for the entire action. Tommy was just about to get out of prison. The man was such a dangerous guy that Sonny Forelli, fearing for his own position in the mafia, decided to organize a sabotage that landed Tommy behind bars. Now that Tommy is released, Sonny will have to be on his guard again. Moreover, Sonny clearly notices that releasing a guy who spent 15 years behind bars on the streets of Liberty will not be good for the organization's image. You can also tell Tommy that he is no longer part of the family because he is an unpredictable psychopath. It's too risky that he will try to get revenge. All this makes Tommy perfect for starting a cocaine business in Vice City. It's very likely that he will do well, and on top of that, he will operate far beyond Liberty City. Thanks to Ken Rosenberg and the respected Colonel Cortez, a deal is arranged with the Vance brothers, thanks to which the Forellis will gain possession of 20 keys of cocaine. All this to get things moving in the city, start fighting for customers and the territories. The day of the drug exchange is coming. Tommy, accompanied by Ken Rosenberg and 2 other Forelli soldiers, drives to the docks. The deal, however, ends badly. 3 assassins suddenly emerge from the dark corners of the docks and kill half of the participants in the process. The cocaine and the money are gone. The only good thing is that Ken and Tommy somehow escaped alive. However, this is not the end of worries. Sonny Forelli lost a lot of money and is furious. If Ken and Tommy don't come up with something, they will eventually end up at the bottom of the ocean. Let's stop here and try to determine who the attackers were who interrupted the transaction. The answer to this question lies in a rather unexpected place. The first mission for Mr. Black called Roadkill. Namely, in the back alley brawl mission, Tommy, while looking for answers to his questions about the failed deal, learns from Kent Paul that some cook from Viceport seems to be very happy lately. Kent mentions that it is worth visiting him because he may be an important link in all this confusion. Tommy kills Leo Teal, because that's his identity, and takes his phone, hoping to find out something. It quickly turns out that it was a good decision. Teal's phone actually rings, and Tommy receives a call from an interesting contact, Mr. Black. Mr. Black, thinking he is talking to Leo, gives Tommy the directions to a phone booth. There, the man will give Tommy details about the next Hitman contract. What is most important for us is that when Tommy gets there and starts listening to Black, he hears the following statement.
Mr. Teal, your help in eradicating those out-of-towners was invaluable to business.
Everything becomes clear. Black organizes hitmen for various actions. The sentence he said clearly tells us that someone paid Mr. Black to organize a team that would steal the money and the drugs from the deal between the Vance brothers and the Forelli Mafia. This raises another question. Who was Mr. Black's client? We will mainly take into account 2 theories assumed by players. The first one says that Sonny Forelli once again wanted to set a trap for Tommy, at the same time getting the Vance's drugs for free. In fact, the only reason this theory even came to light is because of the drugs that appear on Sonny's table during the An Old Friend cutscene. The cutscene takes place about a few hours after the events in Viceport, so it all fits together nicely. It is also interesting because in the first cutscene in the game, these drugs are not there. The community claims that Rockstar did not put them there as an element of decoration, but simply wanted to leave a hint for us. It must be admitted that this is a good argument, but such a scenario simply does not make sense for several reasons. Well, put yourself in Sonny's shoes here. You want to expand the activities of your gang. You are setting up a deal that may be the basis for starting a nice, very lucrative business in another city. The potential is huge. Any gang that has access to drugs is doing great and making a lot of money. Everything indicates that the future is very promising. Moreover, you involve many people in the exchange, including the famous Colonel Cortez, a very influential person respected in the criminal underworld. And then what? You are destroying this exchange to get 20 kilograms of cocaine for free at one time. Well, that doesn't make much sense, does it? Killing Tommy is definitely not an option, because if that was all Sonny cared about, he probably wouldn't make such a big rant about it. Rather, Sonny would wait for some convenient opportunity on the streets of Liberty City to simply get rid of him. Then, he would not have to sacrifice his two trusted soldiers, Harry and Lee, apart from the funds that were needed to organize this entire action in Vice City. Moreover, considering what opportunities were available in Vice City, there was also a risk that Mr. Black would not play by Forelli's rules and would keep both cocaine and money for himself, which Black's hitmen had seized at that moment. I don't know about you, but I think there is little chance of this happening. Let me know how you see it. But from my perspective, if Sonny made such a move, it would be simply very stupid and ill-considered. Vercetti could have been killed without sending him to Vice City. In turn, the business looked so tempting that stealing 20 kilograms of cocaine at a time made no sense. I also personally believe that the drugs on Sonny's table came from some other drug deal that took place in Liberty City and took place sometime before or at the same time as the one in Viceport. Apparently, Sonny planned to start dealing cocaine not only in Vice City itself. Maybe he wanted to test the product on his territory, acting more in the background, so that no one would get too much information that Forellis are selling drugs in Liberty City. This theory also makes sense when looking at real life. As some of you probably know, in the 1980s there was a crack epidemic in New York, where Liberty City is based. In turn, crack is a form of cocaine, so people who like to combine real life with the GTA universe will definitely see many connections in all of this. Coming back to the topic, if it wasn't Sonny, then who ordered Mr. Black to bust the drug deal at the docks? It turns out that all signs in heaven and on earth point to Ricardo Diaz. We will encounter the first such sign in the mission, The Party, in which Tommy shows up at a party and Diaz also participates there. The drug kingpin says the following words to the colonel.
Our business is very trying. Barbarians at the gate. A time for rewarding one's friends and liquidating one's enemies, amigo.
The expression barbarians at the gates metaphorically means a situation in which an organization must oppose some external threats. In my opinion, Diaz refers here directly to the arrival of the Mafia from Liberty City to Vice City, who planned to be a competition. To prevent this, he had to react decisively, so he commissioned third parties to handle this issue. Not only did he not have to put himself and his people at risk, but he also got rid of potential rivals. Another clue is Lance Vance himself, who kept telling Tommy that Diaz was definitely behind everything. Many players disregard Lance's words, but as we know from GTA Vice City stories and from Vice City itself, Lance was on quite good terms with Ricardo. He stayed at his mansion from time to time and did some tasks for him. So we can conclude that Lance was able to hear something about the Diaz's plans, even while, just passing by, completely by accident. An even more interesting theory is that Diaz learned about the details of the transaction from Lance. After all, he didn't use common sense, and he could have said something about it. Even in GTA Vice City stories, we have a situation in which Diaz gets Lance drunk and then makes a deal with him. Obviously not very beneficial from the Vance brothers' point of view. So who knows? Maybe one day Lance got drunk again at Diaz's and accidentally revealed to him some details about the deal at Viceport. Lance and his brother were, after all, one of the parties of this drug exchange. But this is just mere speculation on the side note. What is important is that Lance was most likely right about blaming Diaz for the Viceport action. Besides, that's not the only thing that points to Diaz. The next strong reason is one of the phone calls we receive after the back alley brawl mission. Teal's phone, which Tommy came into possession of, receives a call from one of Leo's associates, thinking he is talking to Leo. Leo's associate, who may have even been one of the perpetrators at the docks, tells Teal that he has found a buyer for Diaz's merchandise and wants him to help organize the drug deal.
Hey, Leo, I think we got a buyer for Diaz's merchandise. Gotta give him a ring, man. Set up the deal, you know?
Where are you now?
You okay, Leo? You sound kinda different.
Just tell me where you are.
Who the hell is this? Put Leo on, man.
Leo's gone away for a while. He left me in charge.
Screw you, man.
By the way, who knows if Diaz didn't sell some of the drugs coming from the Viceport transaction during the Guardian Angels mission, then the mentioned buyer would have been the Cubans. Coming back to the point, this phone call clearly shows us that Black's people cooperated with Diaz, and this in turn also supports the fact that Diaz ordered them to carry out operations in Viceport. Furthermore, it would have to be a really crazy coincidence if we assume that it was not Diaz, since just a few days after the events at the docks, Mr. Black and his men found a buyer for Diaz's drugs. In addition, we also have suspicions thrown by the Colonel, which we will just mention as a curiosity. We will not treat them as a key argument in the whole case, because Cortez does not say why he thinks so and where he obtained such information. However, without looking far, we must add the mission Phnom Penh 86, in which Diaz directly mentions the Mafia.
Soon any mom and pop will think they could sell Gallo in Vice City. What next, huh? The thinking Mafia?
This is a one-to-one reference to the events from the beginning of the game, when the Forellis wanted to start their business in Vice City. Apart from many signs in the game suggesting Diaz's guilt, this entire narrative, unlike the Sonny theory, simply makes sense to the full degree. Let's step into Diaz's shoes for a moment. He had a huge drug empire, and suddenly some Italian wise guys wanted to take it away from him. The Baron, of course, did not want to allow this, so he took the necessary measures. Diaz, as we know from GTA Vice City stories, had an informant in the ranks of Cortez's people, Gonzalez. As the events in Vice City stories showed, Gonzalez was a man without honor and loyalty. It is worth recalling that Gonzalez reported to Diaz on his boss, Colonel Cortez, who, let us mention once again, arranged an exchange between the Vance brothers and the Forelli Mafia. Every piece of the whole puzzle comes together perfectly. Just take a look at this very small detail. During the phone conversation with Tommy, Diaz is so disrespectful towards Cortez, calling him an asshole or a jerk. There's a reason, of course. In the end, the Colonel, by helping the Mafia organize the deal, consciously helped create competition for Diaz. Diaz found out about everything from Gonzalez, which made him develop a strong dislike for Cortez. Either way, we can see that everything fits together nicely. I encourage you to discuss all this in the comments section, where I will follow your observations on an ongoing basis. In the meantime, I would be grateful for rating this episode, and I would recommend you watch the episode about Cortez, which is on the left side of the screen right now. That's all for today. Take care and see you soon.